Coming up on this edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf here on NBC Sports Washington, we'll look at the Stafford H. Pop Cassell Hall of Fame class. Senior Larry Matuzis joins the conversation, and we'll look ahead to the Eagles' clash with the Army Black Knights. It all starts right now. Welcome into AU Hoop Talk, presented by Launchbox Golf. Dan Lang, Coach Brennan, and Coach, let's jump into Hall of Fame weekends. That's what this weekend is, and the latest Hall of Fame class is going to be inducted, including from basketball, Andre Ingram, and that's a pretty special time. Ingram, of course, playing with the LA Lakers.
Yeah, no, he was a terrific player when he was here. I didn't have a chance to coach him, but I was obviously close with the staff that worked with him, and as much as great of a player as he was, they just rave about what kind of kid he was. So I'm real happy for him.
What does that mean for the university, for the department, and for your program to be able to have a guy come from AU and eventually get to the NBA?
Yeah, just to have ambassadors like that to the program is important. He's the quintessential type of kid that you want to point to when you're bringing recruits in and say, obviously you can achieve everything that you want to achieve on the court, but he was also one of the best students in his class, and he sort of took full advantage of the university in every possible way. And that's what you want, the kids coming in here thinking about.
And talk about stick-to-itiveness. The guy leads the G League in games played, leads the G League in three-pointers made all time. So he stuck with it. And even at times when maybe things didn't look so promising, stuck with it and eventually made it to LA. And not just to the NBA, but playing for a legacy team like the Lakers.
Right, yeah. No, I don't know too much about, the G League, but, I know that they're in these remote places and a lot of times empty gyms, so it is a grind. And for him to sort of stick it out and continue to compete on such a a daily basis for so many years, it was great to see him get rewarded for that.
And for the league as a whole, it's also got to be good to have, Andre Ingram, obviously in the NBA. You mentioned, C.J. McCollum is there making a big impact. Mike Muscala has been there, and so there's been some success, especially recently. Malcolm Miller in the NBA, of players coming from the Patriot League.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You don't get overlooked these days. If you can play and you're good, NBA scouts are going to find you. So it's important. All those guys made good decisions by, going to a place where they were going to play. They were going to have a, big hand in, winning and losing games for 4 full years. And I think that's important. So it provides them a great platform to do that. And then obviously getting the degrees from places like that, it just sets them up for, once their basketball careers are over.
You mentioned how if you're a good player, you're going to be found. Is that something that has evolved over time because of video or because of statistics? And, you can pretty much quantify just about anything these days with numbers. What do you attribute that to, that it seems like some of the smaller conferences are able to, put forward some players that see some success?
Yeah, there's just so much more exposure. Everybody has TV games. You can hop on the computer and just watch pretty much anybody in the country at any time. And the sport is so competitive. I think guys are just competing younger and competing at higher levels. So there's more better players out there. And it's not like you just have to go to a handful of schools to get exposure these days. You just got to go to the place where it's the right fit, where you're going to play and have a good career.
Let's jump into the 2008-2009 team that's coming back, and it's the team's going to be coming back this weekend, and they are the second team to win a Patriot League championship. And just talk about, you were around for that squad, what that team meant to you, and what maybe your favorite moment is from that squad.
Yeah, I timed it right, coming here for those 2 years, but it's any time that you have a team that accomplishes something like that, I know all coaches and people surrounded with the program say that they're unique groups, and I think there were no exception. We had such great leadership from everybody in that senior class. Obviously, you had great players, and Derek Mercer, Garrison Carr, Ryan Gilmore, but you had everybody that played. Frank Borden, Jordan Nichols, guys like that, Bryce Simon. Had the right mentality, and they contributed in every the ways that they should have. They were just a great competitive group, and they're still very, very close. And they were all back last year for the event that we had, and we'll probably have most of them back this year too.
And that's got to be fun to see him again. Garrison Carr, a guy that was tabbed as a guy that maybe is a little undersized to be playing D1 basketball, but really made the most of it. I mean, he averaged almost 18 points a game that season that in 2008-9 that won the championship.
Yeah, no, one of the best shooters I've ever been around. I mean, and he put the work in. I mean, he could show up for a shoot around or a practice at 6 a.m. and just walk in ready to go and just start working on his game and would start making shots. So he was one of the best guys that prepared himself. I never seen a guy prepare the way Garrison did. And obviously the ability to shoot the ball changes everything. And guys would guard him to the 3-point line, he would just move a little further back. Guys would guard him, to the NBA line, he would just move a little further back. So obviously his ability to shoot the ball had a lot to do with it.
And his basketball IQ obviously paid off as well. Let's fast forward to this year's squad, and a senior in Larry Matuzis came from St. Xavier NAIA. How did you guys find him?
Well, we knew a coach in that league that knew about him, that sort of tipped us off on him. And he's, Larry's one of the hardest workers, loves being in the gym, never gets tired, always in shape. He's like one of the guys that when he goes home, I'm not worried about what he's going to be doing. I know he's going to be playing every day, and he'll, return to campus in tip-top shape. He's really grown defensively. We knew he can score and get to the rim and make threes and everything, but his defense has been the thing that's taken the biggest jump. So he's defending and rebounding at a high level for us. So we need him to continue to do that.
And we'll hear from Larry coming up as we take a timeout on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan. We'll be back. Larry Matuzis joins the conversation next.
In the Patriot League, academics and athletics work in harmony. We are dedicated to success on the field of play, in the classroom, and in the community. A competitive athletic experience with high academic standards. We are today's scholar athletes. We are tomorrow's leaders. We are the Patriot League.
American University encourages character forged through competition. It is a character that is equipped for the challenge. It is a character that is prepared mentally as well as physically. It is a character that displays excellence in the classroom and in competition. It is a character that displays maximum effort. An effort that is 110%.
Ahead of the pack is Iorio. He'll take it and hits! Right there, that's huge.
Dempsey can't get the pin. He's down there, and he does have the pin.
Looking for Bradfield, and it finds the back of the net. Knocked away. Matuzis will take it the other end. Two-handed flush for Larry Matuzis. Now there's Kazawa, and she's able to finish it off.
Shot to whiff, and that'll end up in the net.
Seconds, fraction of a second. The runner is up, and it's good for Katie Marini.
I give 110%.
I give 110%. I give 110%.
To give your 110%, send your financial contribution to the Eagles Club by visiting aueagles.com/Eagles Club.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. We're now joined by Larry Matuzis, senior on the Eagles squad. Larry, thanks for taking some time.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into it. You're an Eagle now, you're a senior, and you've played now for a couple seasons here at AU. Made the move from St. Xavier, NAIA, which is a school just outside Chicago. How'd you make the move from NAIA to D1?
I got St. X about 6'2". I was probably like 180 or something. So my first year I did some growing, probably ended up being 6'4" by the end of that year.
Wow.
Then second year I got about where I am now, 6'5", 6'6". So that was a big factor, in my ability to play at the next level, I believed. But also in those 2 years, I had put in tons of work, working on my game, knowing that I had this end goal in mind. I wasn't sure if I would ever get the opportunity to play Division I, but obviously, just worked to be the best player I could. And after my second year, I was fortunate enough to be an All-American. Our team was like top 20 at one point. We lost in the first round of the tournament, unfortunately, but after that, I decided, try to see what my options were to play at a higher level. So I got a letter of release, and then one of my guys, Greg Thiestu, kind of started talking to some schools and sent out my highlight tape. And he got in touch with Scotty, who then called me, set up a visit, and I came here, and I kind of fell in love with the staff, the school here, DC. So,
referring to Eagles assistant coach Scott Greenman, what was your first interaction with him? How did that go?
So I remember I got a text saying, whatever, this is Scotty Greenman from American University, whatever. He gave me a call, and I remember the phone call. He started talking about taking on an official visit, and for me that was something I had never done before, because those usually schools that are really not like Division IIIs and Division IIs really don't do that. So for me, when I was getting recruited originally, official visits weren't a thing, so I was kind of really excited when I got this one. So I just remember that, him talking about taking an official visit, and for me, I was really excited about that, and obviously, I took that visit.
What goes into an official visit?
You just get to meet the staff, you get to spend some time with the guys. Obviously, I played some pickup with the guys, so, they take you tours around DC and the campus, and then again, you get to sit down and have, conversations with the staff, some of the guys.
So could you see from that you had some chemistry with the guys when you're playing a little pickup? Could you see these are some guys, some dudes I'd like to hang out with?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely love the guys that we're playing with at the time, and obviously watching Saeed play it's easy to tell that guy can play, that he's a beast. Even Gasparini, he's very guys. You can tell early from him that he can play. So all the guys though, honestly, was for sure I could tell that it'd be guys I want to play with.
You mentioned Saeed Nelson, one of the best guards in the conference. What did you see from him then, and what's it been like playing from him over these last few years?
Honestly, what stands out immediately was just how quick he is, his athleticism. To me, off the bat, it was, he just blows by guys. And, just his ability to move the ball, his vision, how he creates for guys, for himself, his ability to finish around the rim, all of it.
When you look at your style, how do you scout yourself for me?
Yeah, usually I'm a shooter. Obviously, this year's been big on defense. I'd say 3-and-D kind of guy this year. So that's probably, just trying to do what I can to help this team win.
You've had some dunks as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I got them.
You like that? You like getting to the rim and slamming it back?
Yeah, when my legs are feeling good, yeah, I do what I can.
Anybody in particular that you mold your game after, right? Like anybody that you try to think if I could be like that guy, NBA-wise or
for the longest part, I'd say Klay Thompson for me has been huge, just watching him the way he plays. Never taking tons of dribbles, never being a guy that needs the ball in his hands to score, and then obviously defensively, being a stopper. But I've always appreciated tons of guys, Kobe for obvious reasons, and LeBron. So there's tons of guys that I appreciate, and there's things I would love to take from their game, but obviously,
Not hard work. You never know what could pay off, right? You never know. When you look at the Eagles and you look at the way that things have evolved for you, last year played 18 games, started 18 games, third leading scorer on the team. This year you haven't seen quite as much time on the floor. How has that adjustment been for you?
I mean, it's been different for sure, but, getting used to it. Obviously, we got more bodies now, so we don't need guys to play as much. It's been, I'm saying, fresher, obviously. So we just got a lot more depth, so obviously it's helping us. We got more wins.
We talked about making the move from NAIA here to D1 and to the Patriot League. What are some of the biggest differences in the NAIA level and style of basketball to what you're seeing here at the Patriot League?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the styles of basketball, and that's not the biggest thing to me. The style of basketball is pretty universal. But the amount of guys that can play at the NAIA level, some nights you'd see maybe a guy or two that you'd be like, man, this guy could play at the next level. But here, I mean, every night, that every team's got 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that could come out there and really, kick your butt if you're not ready. So, and that's across, all teams as opposed to, I think, at the NAIA level, you get some guys that, we're really beasts, but here, every night you have to be ready to play. Obviously, you see, and as any teams is beating any team in this conference. So,
what is a part of your game that you want to work on? What's a part of your game that you see that you really see a large area of improvement that you can work on?
Just continue to be aware on all both sides of the ball. Offensively, knowing where everyone has to be, being able to help guys on the court, and then awareness defensively as well, just being in the right spots at all times. Be in the right place, right times.
When you look at AU, you're a senior, you're going to be graduating soon. What are your plans after American University?
So I plan on probably going for a while, going back and working for Breakaway Basketball. It's a player development company back home that I've been working for years now, since high school. And I've worked out with them, and so for me that's been what I love to do, and for now I see myself doing that.
So what do they do? How do they get players to be better? What is it? Is it a lot of video-based stuff? Do you sit there and look at guys and try to work with them on that? Do you go out on a floor and say, let's put up some shots? What are you working on? How are you doing?
So I mean, it's all types. It starts from fundamentals of basketball to actual playing, but it's different as opposed to it's not just strictly drills. The guys that the head coaches and the guy that runs it. It's about, just finding love for the game and, working hard on it and teaching the younger kids, what it takes to be great at something, as not just basketball.
Yeah.
But if it turns out to be basketball, it's great for those kids. And that's probably been the biggest thing, just, the view on it, and it's helped me as a player, see the bigger picture.
Seems like that's something you'd probably be pretty good at. Outside of basketball, what do you like to do to spend time and maybe relax a little bit and get away from the game, or do you, or is it something you don't even want to get away from the game?
I mean, most of the time I really don't want to get away from the game, even if it is when we, right now you see great college games anytime you go home, or even the NBA games. But if it's not not watching basketball, we'll play Xbox with the guys, Madden, 2K. It's always a good time, but it's always competitive. So it's it's hard to go from a game, then you get home, start playing these games, and it's just as competitive. So that's funny.
Now, do you like to be in the same room as guys, or do you do the whole thing of putting on the headset and the phone, playing guys that are on the other side of the country or in another spot, or do you like actually being in the same room playing the guys out?
I'd say I like being in the same room, but the great thing about the video games is that you can play guys. I love playing my friends back home because it just feels like you're literally in that room because you're talking to them, you're talking smack. So even here with the guys, I remember my first year when I was living in the dorm rooms, and Saeed lived in the floor below us, I think. So we'd always be playing, in the room together. So. It gets real competitive in there.
That works.
So either way, it's great.
Competitive there, competitive on the floor. Best of luck the rest of the season, Larry. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Larry Matuzis right there. We'll be back with more on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf.
In the Patriot League, academics and athletics work in harmony. We are dedicated to success on the field of play, in the classroom, and in the community. A competitive athletic experience with high academic standards. We are today's scholar athletes. We are tomorrow's leaders. We are the Patriot League.
American University encourages character forged through competition. It is a character that is equipped for the challenge. It is a character that is prepared mentally as well as physically. It is a character that displays excellence in the classroom and in competition. It is a character that displays maximum effort. An effort that is 110%.
Ahead of the pack is Iorio. He'll take it and hits. There, that's huge.
Dempsey can he get the pin? He's down there. He does have the pin.
Looking for Bradfield, and it finds the back of the net. Knocked away. Matuzis will take it the other end. Two-handed flush for Larry Matuzis. Now there's Kazawa, and she's able to finish it off.
Shot to whiff, and that'll end up in the net.
Seconds, fraction of a second. The runner is up, and it's good for Katie Marini.
I give 110%.
I give 110%. I give 110%.
To give your 110%, send your financial contribution to the Eagles Club by visiting aueagles.com/Eagles Club.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan. And, Coach, let's jump into the game against Army and what the Black Knights bring. A much improved team from a year ago, Jimmy Allen's squad.
Yeah, I think a lot like us. You know, they played a lot of the same guys last year, and they got a ton of experience. So, you know, that goes a long way. And I think they're playing well. They always play hard. They move the ball. You know, I really like everything that Jimmy does with that group. I don't like to play against them, but they're a fun group to watch.
You mentioned you don't like to play against them. Of course, that's what you get when you go up against an Army school. When you look at Army, also Navy has it, the prep school angle that other teams in the conference don't have. And in a sense, that gives players a de facto redshirt year. How much of an advantage does that give those two schools?
Yeah, no, it's definitely helpful. You know, I think in our league, maybe the difference between a scholarship guy and a non-scholarship guy isn't that big. So if you can get, you know, however many, I think Navy brings in less than, say, Army, but just having, you know, 5 to 10 extra guys that are just working at a high rate, getting an extra year in. I mean, several of those guys are definitely going to pan out and turn out to be good players for you. So it's definitely a great program for both of those places.
Is it important for those programs as well because maybe they recruit different types of players, so they need to kind of, as well as doing the things that they have to do being at Army and at Navy, right, they also have to learn basketball and the programs that each of those coaches have as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm sure it's a great place to recruit to just because of the type of institutions that those places are, but you know, it also has its challenges, obviously. So just bringing in more bodies, I think, is key to sort of retaining as many good players as you can.
Tommy Funk is one of those good players, really seems to understand what Coach Allen is trying to do there and really runs the offense well.
Yeah, I mean, tough kid, really handles the ball well. I mean, you talk high motor is like a term that a lot of people use, but he's just, you know, he's like the Energizer Bunny, just constantly going, constantly pushing the ball in transition. And all those guys, they sort of follow his lead. So between him handling the ball and, you know, Wilson in the middle, who's, you know, just a huge presence for them, just does everything that they ask of him, and is very efficient. Then you got guys like Fox on the perimeter, just shooters and scorers. They're very hard to defend.
You mentioned Fox. He's a versatile guy. He this season hit the 400 assist mark. He's also a 1,000-point scorer, so he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they share
or a
the
lot
ball.
of everything.
Yeah, a lot of everything, right? I mean, just the way they play, they share the ball. They just move the ball around, constant movement, cutting, and skilled guys on the perimeter. They really challenge you.
Matt Wilson is a junior. Talk about how you've seen his game evolve. He's one of the D1 leaders in field goal percentage. Really shoots high percentage shots, and they tend to go in.
Yeah. I mean, he's a lot like Floyd at Holy Cross. Not quite as athletic. His strength is strength. But he understands what they're trying to do, and he takes the shots that he's supposed to take, and he's gotten better at just real efficient. Whether it's with his left hand or his right hand, or making a move and making a counter move. I mean, he's definitely improved a ton. They just got a ton of experienced guys on the court.
Tough matchup as the Eagles get set to take on the Black Knights of Army. Want to remind you to keep up with all things Eagles. Log on to aueagles.com and, of course, follow the Eagles across all the social media platforms. For Coach, I'm Dan. We'll see you next time.